exactly what you want, lass. Just dinna light that candle.
Wrap it up, nerd. Alright, I don't know what this is called, and I don't care. 2, 3, 4.
I hope you're all chilled out because we're here for the Chilled Out Trek Show. Welcome everybody, and welcome Big, and welcome Auto, my friends who've come back to talk to me. We've not spoken in so long.
Are you off your meds again and your friends have reappeared?
No, I just did, yes. They were in my head. No, I'm still convinced this is all not a part of my mental illusion. Like, honestly, I was saying this to you, Auto, before the show. I was trying to find a piece of news on Strange New Worlds that I'd read, and I just could not find it anywhere in my browser history, and I was seriously doubting my own cognition. But like, did I just imagine this? It's crazy.
Well, if you didn't have to periodically delete your browser history every 6 hours, you would still have that information.
See, I was going to go much more foul with my version of that joke, so thank you, Big.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, welcome, guys. We're gonna just.
Why were you making fart noises with your mouth during the intro?
Was I? No,
Why not?
Oh,
No,
you-
Big was.
No, I was.
I didn't even hear it.
Because I'm a clown. I am a buffoon. This is known.
Right.
I've been watching. I quite like Strongman, so like the competitions and stuff. I've been watching a show recently for strongmen to get together and they try to like reenact famous strongman things from history, lifting cars and whatnot. And it makes me think of my good buddy Big, because the one guy's like 6'8", 430 pounds, and dude is massive. So, anyways,
But he's
I mean,
just
that's
inside.
Slight exaggeration in both of those tales of the tape, but yeah, I actually used to be a semi-competitive powerlifter in a former life, but
Wow.
that's
There you go.
yeah, that's
which parts of your body did you use?
well, you got to use all of them when you get to that point. It's like when you're deadlifting 600, 700 pounds, you don't leave anything. You don't leave anything out.
Quick shout out. We've got one shout out for the Suncoast Live Cat Squad, currently crushing the event. So proud of these guys. Oh, you sent to me on a PM on Discord, did you? Okay, sorry. Responding on chat. I need to find.
You guys are going to get your flowers on Wednesday. Don't worry.
What is this we're talking about? Some sort of game?
Some sort of game that we all play. I don't know. It's a load of. We need to not get sidetracked with timelines talks on this Chilled Out Trek Show.
Look, enjoy the S while you can, because we're this close to rebranding to Timeline Talks.
You actually were generally discussing it just before the show. It was like, well, maybe if Robert Picardo decrees it, then it shall be so.
Yeah, Robert Picardo is automatically correct. So anything that you had before that is now incorrect.
Yes, exactly.
So
Well, there we are.
that's just the rules.
Our pre-show is like the refractory period where all the great mysteries of life come unraveled and we figure everything out. It all comes into crystal clarity, and then we have to start the show and we forget what we were talking about. So
Yeah. I mean, it's nice to have the pretense that we had something to talk about.
But this is the whole point of the show. It's just we come on and just blather about whatever, and then sometimes maybe we'll have a Trek comment or some sort at some point. But
this is how men in their 30s communicate in the new era.
yeah.
Like, we got to do it anyway.
This
you
is the
know,
pub table.
hang out
This
with
is-
your
yeah.
online buddies.
We're sitting around the pub table. We're having a drink. We're there with the jukeboxes in the background playing something no one asked for. The bartender's looking questionably at our drinks and wondering if he should kick us out
Sweet
yet.
Caroline, bum bum bum.
It's a flat roof
my
pub,
Lord.
and there's someone in the corner smoking when they shouldn't be.
You know, I would take a Neil Diamond marathon over what normally plays at the bars around where I live, because it's just 10,000 variations on beers and trucks and
Oh right,
yeah.
on the road again.
Yeah. Oh, good God. No, I would take Willie Nelson 10,000
Wow,
times
worse than that.
over
Gosh.
over Florida Georgia line and all of this. bro country stuff that's taken over.
Bro country, and we got like alpha country western. Country and western is an alien topic for me. Like I'm not down with the American trends, but
bro country, it's the worst. But yeah, no, it is absolutely.
Dude,
a
do
thing.
you even yokel?
No, they don't,
Oh,
because it's like it's kind of somewhere in between. It's got like Def Leppard guitars, and it's got like the half rapped vocals, and it's like the same 6 or 7 subjects for every song. Like there's a Bo Burnham song about,
I was
like,
just gonna bring that one up.
yeah, it's like about pandering to the country fans, and it's just the same stuff as like Cold Bear, Friday Night, in truck in the moonlight, and that's every song.
Wow.
But anyway,
I remember
that's a
years ago when I worked in the theatre, darling. We had a entourage of not Irish.
That always pops me.
It does. Not Irish folk music. I like Irish folk music. It's great. This was Irish country music, and they came on. There's the whole weekend at work where they were just different bands would play pretty much the same song for 4 hours a night, and it was always about going home or their dog dying or some lost love out in the wilderness, and it wasn't. There was very little Irish to it. It was mostly country, and it was so depressing.
It's the Irish version of American country music,
Yes.
as they understood it.
Pretty much, yeah. And it is, and they've got their own enthusiastic fans who will do some line dancing, and it kind of is a very Americanized version of. Sorry, a very Irish version of an American thing, and it's really weird, and it's also so boring.
I mean, Keith Urban exists, so I mean that there's a precedent for a gigantic country music star that's not from the U.S., but that just seems like a weird hybrid to me.
See, Otto's been quiet now because he's just like, I'm just the biggest country fan, you fucks, how dare you?
No, I don't like it. But same thing happened to me about 5 or 6 years ago. I went to the German version of like a county fair or whatever. One of the things they had a stage set up and they had different displays. And then while we were there, they just busted out like line dancing. And keep in mind, this is like rural Germany, and they had everyone in cowboy hats, cowboy boots, and it was like actual like good line dancing. The music was like right on country. I'm like, well, did they import these guys from like Texas or something? Like, how did this end up in the middle of Germany? And I still have videos on my phone because I refused to delete. I refused to delete it. It was so funny.
There is all around England, there are various pockets of like line dancing and American enthusiasts who love doing that shit on a Wednesday night down the village hall, and they take a step to the left and a step to the front, and they'll go down. I know people and their daughters will go out and they'll go line dancing for an evening. It's the best thing we're doing. I was like, no. Go do, at least Strictly's got talent. Go do that. Go do Congo, but just don't. Following a basic pattern with my feet is hardly entertainment for the night. Anyway, here we are.
You've got to seriously reevaluate your life choices if that's where you've ended up.
Hold on. Now we're being a little strict. Okay, it's a little bit of exercise. B, it's a little bit of socialization.
Wow. Okay.
See, if you're looking at a prospective mate, let's break this down scientifically. You can, if someone's got good rhythm and they look, Walt says if they look good in a cowboy hat, then that's a point in their favor. So I'm not going to rag on it, but
well, okay. And the other part of it is I will not dance under basically any circumstance, and I think that's been covered before. Like we didn't even have dancing at our wedding.
Wow.
Wow. Not even a first dance?
Not a thing. No music, no nothing.
I dropped my wife during our first dance, so maybe that was a good call.
No, but so if you want to put people in the lowest stakes situation you can possibly be in, where the instructions are literally given to you, it's like do that, and they can't dance any other way, then you know what? I can appreciate that. I'm still not going to do it. I had to do it in like middle school, and as part of our physical education program was square dancing, line dancing. Yes, and that was in the the achy breaky heart days, to where
that was peak. That was the peak the peak valleyness of country music.
peak
With achy
valleyness.
breaky heart. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
The
When it
low
hit
point.
international acclaim. That's when the world heard the word.
Mullet. When they heard the word mullet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's funny with like some British people because they always have a kind of they love that kind of Americana. Some people do, and they'll buy a big Jeep and put the flag up, even though they're not American in the slightest. They may have like an uncle that lives out there or something like that, and they'll be kind of strange. They'll have like posters on the wall of like westerns and things like that. And there's some generally people of 60 plus or 50 to 60-year-olds will sort of have this kind of strange attachment to somewhere they don't know, but they like the culture, which is it's fine. It's interesting, but they do take it to heart a bit. And they'll go out with the cowboy hat on, and like it's very strange. Like you are aware you're in the middle of a village, and this is the middle of nowhere, and here you are.
Man, UK midlife crises are weird.
Yeah. If they're American out there somewhere just looking depressed over a cup of tea, then we'll be fine.
I mean, that's literally how I started the stream. So, all right. Before we get too far away from the intro, Idle, why don't you take a big victory lap for putting us on the global map this week?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, some good timing on my part there.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it, go.
Hold on, let me find the. I'll find the link and put it
pop
in chat.
The official Star Trek website put out the Strange New Worlds intro, so if you haven't seen it, go and watch it. It is something. But if you want to see the better version, go onto the Timelines Talks YouTube page, youtube.com/Timelines Talks, and look at the better. I've put it as fixed, or no, actually, I've called it what it is.
9,000 views.
Yes, it's had 9,000 views. That is seriously like our best video before then was the boss battles with 700 views. This has just eclipsed it by like a factor of 700 or something, and it's ridiculous. But just perfect timing. I saw the intro and I just went, I know what I need to do. I need to put Faith of the Heart over this, and it's got to be done.
No, the funny thing is, it's like I still haven't even watched the original version of the trailer. I've only seen the one that I've only seen the one that you put the music
watch it.
over.
Every time you get Strange New Worlds, just overdub it. Never ruin it for you. Yeah.
So, people won't admit this, but all the comments are like, wow, this works so well. I can't believe it fits so well. The truth is, Faith of the Heart is actually a good Star Trek intro song. People just don't want to admit it, but it works. Sorry.
No.
It does.
Well,
but
yeah. It's not my cup of on its own merits. It's not my cup of tea, and it's like it doesn't make me feel like I'm about to watch Star Trek.
Well, they didn't want it to be Star Trek, didn't they? Originally, it was just going to be called Enterprise.
It was just Enterprise.
Yeah.
It was originally just called Enterprise for like I want to say the first 2 seasons before they stuck Star Trek on before season 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you've kept up with the shuttle pod, we've plugged this every time we're on the shuttle pod.
Now it's shuttle pod.
Yeah. Yeah, they basically said they wanted to do like a softer off-brand version of Star Trek, and then they realized, oh wait, we're fucking morons because there's like 40 years, 30 years of brand behind this that we should have been capitalizing on. So their mistake.
Well, and it's like, are you going to bring on new fans with this at this point in the journey? I doubt it.
That was the thing about Enterprise, is it wasn't really appealing to any new demographic. It was just, this is another series for Trek fans, and it being a prequel added to that sort of dynamic. So I can't understand why people are a bit miffed by that. But if you've ever listened to the end credits titles, and it's called Archer's theme, and I believe that was originally composed to be, at least the main motif was composed to be the sort of the theme song for Enterprise before they replaced it with the Diane Warren version.
Diane Warren, yeah.
And that actually, and some people have done the same thing. They put that over the top, and I think if you're going to go for a kind of DS9 Voyager-esque kind of score to go over the top of it, because no one's got a problem with the title visuals, that's great. I love those, but I think if you want to overdub it with like a more traditional theme, it was the Archer theme was the better one, I thought. But everyone rags on Fate of the Heart. I rag on it. I still kind of do, but when it's on, I can't just help. I don't skip it because I feel like it adds to it's something about adds to the tone of the show. It's there, isn't it? It's part of the identity of Enterprise.
Yeah, well, because I said what I said about not preferring it, but now that it's over, like that whole series is over, you look back on it fondly because, like you say, that's just it's part of the
Because
the
it ain't new
ID.
Trek.
Well, but no, it's
You can
it's part
admit
of well, and if you want something that is kind of tongue in cheek, which is exactly what Idol did with his video. It's like, something to laugh. And one of my favorite comments on the video is that it's now a bespoke Rickroll for Trek fans.
Yeah.
Which that's exactly what it is. It's like anytime you need a joke, you can use Faith of the Heart, and it's just going to automatically read like a joke. That's it's a short circuit to comedy.
There's a Robin Williams movie. It's like a Hallmark sappy movie called Patch Adams.
Patch Adams. Yeah.
And at the end of that, it's Rod Stewart's Faith of the Heart playing. So that's where I first heard that. So when Enterprise did it, I'm like, oh, it's that Patch Adams song. So that's how I still know it as.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
But
and it's better.
Yeah.
The Rod Stewart version's better.
Shout out to a friend of the stream who pops in, Fragrance Free Vaseline, who sort of continued on, saw my version, continued on the trend. I actually put loads of different songs, but I think one that really works well is he did one with the A-Team, and that actually works really well because as the Enterprise shoots out the nebula, it's like da 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 da. That's quite a good one. I quite enjoyed that. I think then loads of people have just been really overdubbing it. It's kind of started a little, tiny little, not viral or anything like that, but a little meme craze on Twitter at some point of people just overdubbing it with different things.
Poll up in chat. Let me know which version of Faith of the Heart is your favorite.
There is another Faith of the Heart version that I listen to that's on my Star Trek Soundtracks playlist on Spotify. I can't remember who does it. I'm going to go look it up because it's interesting because it's actually got a second. I didn't know there was another verse. I didn't know with the whole song, but there's a guitar solo.
There's actually
and everything.
18 verses. They just never play them.
It's an original Bible psalm, or I can't say that, but psalm. There you go.
The Song of Solomon.
It's in the Apocrypha.
Her hair was like a flock of goats descending from Mount Gilead. Her breasts were like the ivory towers of Alexandria. I'm sorry. I grew up as a pastor's son, so I know Song of Solomon by heart.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I was going to make a Maccabees joke, but now it's just ridiculous.
Yeah, it wasn't before, but it is now. So.
Yeah. But no, and actually to the point that the version that's in Enterprise isn't even called Faith of the Heart.
No, it's Where My Heart Will Take Me, isn't it?
Yeah, the Rod Stewart one is called Faith of the Heart. It's the same song.
I think it's called Don't You Think I'm Sexy?
Yeah.
That's Rod Stewart's masterpiece.
Gosh, I don't know how I know enough about Rod Stewart to know how much he loathes that song.
Oh, really?
I think it's just watching too much pop-up video in the 90s, and it would just be something that came up.
I feel like most musicians hate their own popular songs because too much of a good thing. What does everyone drink? I'm drinking the same thing I was drinking Wednesday because I bought a 6-pack and I'm slow on it. So Waldhaus Zawa.
Well, I can use this opportunity to talk about my impending tragedy, because one, I am drinking the Ardbeg Ugadal, which is my favorite whiskey of all time, bar none. But when I went up to the cabinet to get my Glencairn glass, I noticed this, and I don't know if that is coming through.
Just about to say it,
yeah. That, and I don't know how this crack happened, but it's like, sometimes like Hamlet or Gladiator, like after the guy's stabbed, he already knows he's dead, but he's got to finish the job anyway. It's like this glass is already dead. It's a dead glass walking, but
So
it's going to get me through this episode.
Was that the second hairline tragedy to happen to you, Big?
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
My God.
I'm so sorry.
It's funny because
I couldn't make that joke to anyone except you two and Stars. I'm sorry.
Calling kettle black. Come on.
No, no, that's mostly by choice up there. But no, it's funny because I don't even know what we were talking about. I think it was just my son was talking about what he wants to do when he grows up, and whether he wants to keep playing baseball and stuff like that. And then just out of the blue, I really hope I don't go bald though. It's I hope not
Wow.
either, son.
No. Kids kind of
hope-
random as shit. Like Ben turned around to me, my son Ben, not obviously WRG Ben, but that would be funny if he did. It turned around to me the other day and said, "Dad," I was like, "What's that? Do elephants eat potatoes?" I'm like, I don't know. Maybe, probably. Do they need them cooked?
If they're available.
Wow, he lost all faith in his daddy that day. Like he thought you were invincible until you didn't
Yeah,
know
that's
if
it. I
elephants
finally
ate
let him down.
potatoes.
Yeah.
It's like that's going to come up in a therapy session 20 years down the line. It's like, and then he didn't know
He just didn't.
if
know.
elephants ate potatoes.
I'm sure
And
there's a song out there that's called "Daddy Didn't Know." I mean, I could have liked it, but like,
no,
yes.
Daddy
But
didn't
that's the end of
know.
it.
Daddy-
Let's not sing that version.
But anyway, I'm drinking a House of Pale as a pale ale. As one of my subscription box pale ales. It's one of the weakest ones I've got because everything else now is I've filtered out so much that everything is now 6 or 7% or more, and I'm kind of scared of my shelf now. But I've also got.
Well, I
next
mean,
up, I've got just
Your
a
shelf will achieve sentience and start walking around the house.
You want a beer?
Well, I think it's dangerous because I mean your house is already a house of pale just by default, right? And then it's like you're drinking something over the top of it. It's like eventually the wattage in the house just from all of the reflective surfaces is just going to be such that you can't even record a stream because
All right,
the
my
light
turn.
balance-
All right, I'm going.
Roast me next. Roast me next.
Well, I have to do that because my wife eternally busts on me for how pale I am, and it's like, I got to send that back out into the world somehow.
For Pofcast listeners, what's the best Faith of the Heart version? Half of our respondents say "poke me in the eyeball, please." 38% say Patch Adams. 13% say Enterprise.
There you are. There is also I found it is Faith of the Heart by Kay Kiker. No, sorry, Ray Kiker. Said that the wrong way around. Ray Kiker. It has a guitar solo in it.
I
And
feel
it's
like you're probably
awful.
still saying it wrong somehow.
Yeah, Ray.
This is a
Ray,
Commander Riker pseudonym, I think.
Yeah, Ray Kiker, not K Riker. Ray Kiker. Go look that up. It's awful, but it's on an album called Faith of the Heart from Star Trek Enterprise. So it must be someone's like self-uploaded cover.
So I bought this. My best buddy hates sweet drinks, especially sweet hard drinks, but he's my whiskey drinking partner. So I've been threatening him for years. I finally bit the bullet and bought it. There's this Crown Royal whiskey, apple flavored, and it's like insanely overly sweet. Tastes like sour apple candy, basically. It's only 35%, I think. So I bought it and I made him try it. And when Stars gets here, that's how I'm going to introduce him to hard liquor. Is with because all he drinks is like Coke all day, I think. So I have to ease him in somehow.
I've got loads of this left over. Use this up, please.
Yeah.
Feed on my drink.
Oh, can you get any of those weird? Probably not. Those Jack Daniel's sodas with.
Oh, I've seen those. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think so. You can get like the typical American brands here, Jack Daniels and whatnot, or Johnny Walker, but
Yeah. Oh, Johnny Walker's Scottish.
no, it's American. I've seen it sold in America. It's ours now. What are you talking about?
That's how it works.
I know lots of guys named Johnny. It's
Hey,
gotta be
cultural
American.
appropriation. That's my job. Come on. That's the British thing to do. We take things and tell them it's ours.
Dude, so that Strongman show I was talking about, the episode I watched today, they reenacted the British Tea Party. So they have these 200-pound crates of tea, and they make a race of who can throw them in the water the fastest. I'm like, this show is like almost offensively American. It's wonderful.
Is there someone playing like the drums and a little sort of like tin whistle in the background playing like a Yankee? Somewhere Mel
Just
Gibson
reading
is
the
crying.
Declaration of Independence in the background. It's just
There's powdered wigs everywhere.
Yeah.
yeah.
Someone shouts, "The British are coming!" For some reason,
Okay,
naval
so-
boats come appearing.
I know we have a lot of viewers from good old UK. What are some hilarious American stereotypes that you perpetuate, whether they're true or not? Just the most fun ones to take the piss out of people.
I don't really know. I mean, I know you guys, so I never wanted to offend, but like, no, that wasn't the stereotype. But like, I know most people in the UK just kind of go for Americans as very kind of brash and sort of very sort of very social, like, because we as British, we don't like people just walking up to each other and going, "How you doing?" And like, no, we don't like that. Just like, go away, leave me alone. What are you doing? I'm going somewhere and doing something. But like the idea that Americans are very forward and will just come out and say, "How you doing? You know, good to meet you," and all that. You know, that's kind of what people think. They're sort of very forward and very loud as well. That's something.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I can see that.
I'm so sorry.
No, well,
I
and
know Mr.
the
Brown.
thing. Well, no. See, the thing is, I'm not that. I loathe that. I don't like small talk. It's like I'm the anti-Hutch from TNG. It's like I maybe need to have that program uploaded into me so I can participate in this kind of
Did you
stuff.
know that the mean weather on our carrier is slightly lower than is preferred for normal human comfort levels?
But the one thing, and I don't know if it's more the South in general or Texas in specific, but there is a thing that whether it's, you know, a car or what, it's like if you're passing by each other, you wave. You've never met the person in your life. You wave at the person as you're going by. It's like I'm at work and we drive. You know, it's a big enough place that you need golf carts to get from one end of the facility to the other, and you're driving by in the golf cart. I can neither confirm nor deny what if I work at a golf course. But no, but as you're driving by in the golf cart, it's like people. It's like they don't even say anything. It's not like even like a "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, and it bothers me.
That's a really low risk thing. Because
Yes.
anywhere else in the world, if someone's driving by and you wave at them, then it's on them. They're going to think, I must know that person, otherwise why would they? Then they think they're the crazy ones and not you. So it's you get off scot-free. If you just wave at people, they're going to think, oh, it's they must know me or something.
Have everyone's done this, right? You've all done this. You've seen someone in a crowd and you've waved thinking there was someone you knew, and then as you waved you realise, oh shit, it's not them, and you just kind of have to somehow kind of like merge it into like a movement. I did this today. I turned around to someone in the shop and I thought it was someone that I knew, and I went, oh hey, and then I went, oh shit, it's not them. Luckily for me, they had headphones in and were looking somewhere else. I was like, I'm just gonna look like a crazy person now.
I will do the opposite. I'll just be like, oh hey, that's probably someone I know. I need to go the other way now, because it's like I don't want, like if I'm not in if I'm not in regular contact with you right now, it's like I don't want to pick up something from 15 years ago and like start that up all fresh and new again. And that's
I do though. I love that. Like I'm shit at keeping in communication, but if we were good friends once upon a time and it's been 10 years, I'll slip right back into whatever we were doing.
If I was friends with someone, but then I've had occasion times when I've been out about on a drink, had a few drinks, and I've seen someone out and they're like, "Hey, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, who are you?" I can't remember who you were. Sorry, it was like 15
As long as you
years
don't
ago.
need me to know the names, we can still have a
Big
chat.
all right.
He's really happy to be here.
He really is. He's kind of mid-frozen face there, isn't he? Oh, there he goes.
Oh well, see, I can you hear me?
We can hear you, but you're
Because
you're very...
Yeah, Otto's face was frozen on mine, so I don't know. I'm sure this is scintillating to watch and listen to for anybody streaming, but no, it's gone up exponentially for me, that kind of situation, because I've moved back close to where I grew up. So it's seeing a lot of people that I didn't really want to know the first time, and then I'm having to come and be around them again, and it's like, you know, and it's like sometimes it's like it's people that I work with that are people that I knew and was on like some basketball team with 25 years ago, and
you went to school with people, obviously back when you were young, and you had friends around and things like that, and your parents asking like, oh, what happened to little old Johnny Smith or whatever, and they go, yeah, Mum, they're in jail now. Like there's a reason I don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah, or my parents will send news stories of, and it's a name that I recognize, and it's like, oh, did you hear what's that? No, and I don't really care.
Used to run around. Used to have baths together. Used to run around in the garden together. I'm like, how old was I? 3. Well, I'm not going to fucking remember them, am I?
You know, I might upset a lot of people in chat, but it's actually good to go out and socialize and like I know COVID has spoiled us because we've had a built-in excuse to not talk to anyone or go anywhere, but it really is healthy to do
Don't
that
get me
once
wrong.
in a
Like,
while.
if I because I go and have board game nights with friends and things like that. If I'm arranging to go out with people and meet them, I will be the chattiest person in the room. It's just the whole sort of like seeing someone in a shop and when you're on the way to do something else and everyone was like, "Let's talk for half an hour about something." I'm just like, "I've ready to go. Like, this is fine, but just text me. It's my number. Text me."
I will never say anything other than I feel that it is a deficiency on my part that I don't want to engage in these situations. It feels like it after the fact. I'm like, I really should have just, said something. And or well, now especially it's like when I have coworkers that I know that they know that I know who they are, and it's like, and it's just kind of become this cold war now. It's like, when is somebody going to say something? And it's no, and like I've been at this place for multiple years now, and I see them multiple times a week, and we never say anything to each other, other than just when you can't avoid it, like you're going up and down a stairwell next to each other, and you have to wait for one to come down so the other one can go up, and then you have to say, yep, how's it going? But and that so easily could have been avoided just by saying, hey, you were that guy.
Fuck out of my way.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I agree with your point. I do, and it's just I don't know. It's something about the unknown of the situation. It's like how is it going to go is just enough for me to like, you know what, I don't want to find out.
You'd make a lousy Jim Kirk big. You have to risk is our business, even if it's just talking to someone.
I think as British now have this, we have a default for anyone you meet. You want to talk about something, you just talk about the way cold out, isn't it? Yeah, it is today. Unusually so for March. Yeah.
That's okay. I mean, that's something.
Yeah. Like, it's raining on a Tuesday in April. Who would have thought it? Ridiculous.
Well, because that is the thing too. It's like once that dam is broken, once the conversation starts, then I am a charming person, and I can just keep gabbing. I'll be.
You're a wonder, B. You're a true wonder.
See, the secret is you can't be afraid to just shut off the conversation. Either do the universal knee slap and walk off, or just be like, "Well, I'm late for something. We'll catch up later." As long as you're willing to pull the ripcord, it makes it a lot easier to start the conversation in the first.
Easier said than
just
done.
do it.
No,
just
easier said than done. Unless you're with your wife and you're around their grandparents. And you want to leave, but she doesn't. And you're like,
that's true.
Oh, right,
it doesn't work with grandparents.
And you kind of got to go like, oh, well, look at that. And then you sort of nudge her and go, oh, well, this is, we got to go do. And you just sit and then you're halfway out the door and she's just still there having another cup of tea. And I'm like,
See, luckily I married a woman who's terrified of meeting new people. So sometimes I'll tease her, be like, hey, we should go ask that guy or talk to that guy. And she's like, I don't want to talk to anyone. So.
She's like, I'm not swinging, not here. This isn't the right kind of place.
So we're having a meta conversation about pointless things that people talk about to avoid real conversations.
And here we are, having a conversation to avoid a conversation. Strange New Worlds
what's new with
Thursday.
Star Trek?
Strange New Worlds on Thursday. Well, for those of you who can stream it, you get, because I think everywhere but me and Auto can stream it legally. But
theoretically, that's true, but I've never tested that assumption.
Well, you may test that assumption at your convenience. Thank you, Picard. Yes, Strange New Worlds is Thursday. I am hyped. I really am hyped now. There's a lot of marketing going out, and there's a lot of sort of character, portraits, and it's looking. I'm hearing from early reviews that it's good, but then of course they always say that. So what can you trust from people? Invite the Star Trek fans to go see a Star Trek thing. Of course they're going to say it's good. They got to sit next to Anson Mount in the lime green suit, like.
They said Rise of Skywalker was good in original early reviews, so I
went to the midnight screening of Rise of Skywalker because I wanted to see it before I saw spoilers, and I wish I had just seen the spoilers.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to derail. No. Yeah, Strange New Worlds.
Yes, I'm hyped. I am excited. I am overwhelmed with glee. At the annoying thing is usually at work, Thursday mornings is a nice sort of calm time, so I can generally watch it a bit in the morning. So I can generally get it in before I have to do any work. But this week is now booked up and insanely busy. I'm like, I'm gonna have to wait till the evening and then hope the wife doesn't go, let's watch something else tonight. I'm like, no, I am watching Star Trek. If I've had to wait 12 hours to watch it, I'm not putting it off for anything else. Put the children to bed, turn the lights out, and give me my Anson Mount fix. Sorry, I'm hitting my table there. Apologise.
I like how you got the lower deck shirt and then you have the disco uniform behind you. It's like
getting my Trek in.
You try hard.
He is Mr. New Trek of the.
Wait till I come back from Star Trek London. I'm going to come back with so much flair. I'm going to have a Klingon baldric with just pins.
But you said overwhelmed. It's like I am overwhelmed. It's like I am so far behind on, because I want to watch this stuff kind of as a family, and I don't want to just watch it when I can and be out ahead of everybody else in the house. So it kind of means that, like, I haven't seen Moon Knight either, and I really want to watch that.
Yeah.
Because I'm just we don't have the time.
Does your family sit down for Picard as well?
Up to this point. Yeah, I know.
I maybe would advise some caution on this latest episode, maybe on that one.
I know what's coming.
Yeah, okay. Just make sure your kids are alright with that as well, because it's pretty dark.
Yeah, hey, and we may
spoiler
skip
free.
over
I'm like 4 episodes behind.
It is spoiler free. Just a general mood overview.
Red alarm.
Thank you,
Red
Spotswood, for following.
Red alarm.
But yeah. I'm encouraged by the things I'm hearing about Strange New Worlds, about sort of the theme and the things I'm seeing, and like even just like we spoke about it last time we did a chill stream. I think just like the episode descriptions of them sort of being, each episode is its own. Like you say, you want your not serialized. You want your episodic Star Trek with a kind of with that flavor. That here it comes.
Yeah,
but I wonder.
Yeah, and
go on.
Oh, I didn't have anything to say. I was just going to react to it. So
I wonder if they're ever going to produce a Star Trek. And I was thinking about this the other day. Are they ever going to produce a Star Trek series that isn't on the back of things that have already been aired? Because ever since DS9, ever since DS9, they're like, everything has sort of been, DS9's built on the back of TNG. Voyager's built on the back of TNG as well. Enterprise is built on the back of people knowing everything about all the other series, and then Discovery and everything else has sort of been like references or saying 10 years before Kirk and Spock. Lower Decks is like animated, full of references. Do you think they will ever be brave enough to go, here's a Star Trek series that is just its own thing? There are not that I don't mind the references, I gleefully go, oh look, there's that thing there, quite happily. But will they ever produce a Star Trek series that can stand on its own without having the weight of the rest of the franchise behind it, which is kind of, even the Kelvinverse kind of does things like that as well. Like, do you think they would ever do a standalone, say, 27th century Star Trek show that is just about a ship somewhere out in space, or about some people on a different planet just doing their own thing without any references?
Well, how do you do that? Because like, as soon as you release one piece of content in a universe, it's like everything else kind of necessarily falls in a continuity of that, and you can either remove yourself intentionally from that continuity to try and do something different and then just remake the Wrath of Khan again, or you can that's basically all you can do. It's like you're beholden to the content that has come before in some form or another. It's like you're either going to reference it directly, or you're going to gauge yourself against what's come before. It's like I think
they're embracing it. They're making love to it at this point. Like, hey, this is Spock's sister is like a little more than here's a tenuous influence. Also, the fact that they're diving right into prequel stuff, or the whole premise of here's Catherine Janeway to kick off the new show. It's like you guys aren't even trying at that point. So when I think back to like how Voyager did it, once or twice you heard references of Captain Kirk in Janeway's ready room. DS9 was pretty light on guests. TNG was a little more because they brought in Bones and Scotty and Spock and stuff, and That was a little bit more, but yeah, you can do it in the future and just have, history is written and you can go back and reference what they did in the past in a passing manner. But doing the whole, all right, we're going to have the same characters on our new show as well is like, that's really when it's hard to ignore.
Well, and I think that's why Discovery has gone on the track that it has, so that it moved itself far enough away from what's come before that you kind of can't help but
even
do
Disco's,
something new.
We had the Guardian of Forever in season 3 that was a major plot point. There was, it's still fallen on the back of, you've got Tilly's cadets in sort of early season 4. No spoilers here, but there's an Orion, a Tellarite, and I think a human. The traditional. There's nothing new there. It's all traditionally falling on the back of existing canon, which is fine. But it's sort of like not that I want them to do that, but it would be nice for them to sort of say maybe with Section 31, it kind of just goes off and it is just Giorgio doing something without any reference, but I feel maybe not. I don't know. I don't know what I want from this sentence, but I'm just sort of, with Strange New Worlds, it's basically, here's all this old stuff again, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome, but it's like, here's Chapel and Spock, and this is 10 years before. Yeah. And we were talking with Stars previous on our Strange New Worlds channel in the Discord, that we're saying, like, because they've just cast the role of Robert April in the show as well. I forget the actor's name, I haven't looked at it yet. But he was saying, people are going to complain because of, obviously, it's a black man, but traditionally, Robert April's white in TAS, whatever, doesn't matter. We're all about recasts here anyway, we won't get into that. But he said, people will complain until they want the Robert April show. And I was thinking, well, hang on, that would be a prequel to a prequel to a sequel. This is like stacking on. Where how far do we run Star Trek back in time, like the anomaly at the end of All Good Things?
So all these prequels obviously are Federation centric. So if you're looking for something, something different. All right, here's a thought experiment. Let's say it's set, I don't know, Delta, Gamma, whatever quadrant. And you only have one or two ties to something that's been mentioned previously in Trek. Like,
kind
say,
of Prodigy is that a little bit. Not too much. Obviously, it's got Janeway and it's got the Protostar, but it is set Delta Quadrant and it is sort of doing newish things. But yeah.
Well, I'm saying if you're building your own from the ground up, and you can only reference one or two others, and maybe drop somewhere in season 3, like, oh yeah, they came across a Federation ship, blah blah blah, just in dialogue.
Imagine if they did that.
Where would you set that, and what ties would you pick for this show?
Imagine if they set like a Gamma Quadrant race, and they don't even mention the word Gamma Quadrant because that's a very Federation-centric term. They say this is this planet, and they have a whole series based on this planet with this culture achieving warp flight or something, very early days, and there's some drama. And then, like you say, in season 3, they go out, and then all of a sudden there's a Constitution class starship or something, like, and then everyone just goes, "Oh my god, it was a secret Star Trek show all along." Could you imagine if they ever did that, or like just completely drop the ball? People are like, "Why is this on Paramount Plus?" And hang on, isn't that a changeling or something like that? And you could sleekly tease things in without any promotion. Then suddenly they go, "It's a Star Trek series." I would go over the moon for that. That would be awesome. Just for the sheer.
Or maybe something like telling the story of the beginning. I mean, not the beginnings, but of the founders, and then like the expansion of like when they sent all the changelings off to other places. And
there's a lot of scope for like 2 or 3 episode miniseries, like they used to do back in the 90s and early 2000s. You used to get a lot of like 3 to 4 episode like
miniseries. Netflix would be all over that. They would do one season and then cancel it. So
yeah. But no, just like a short Trek, expand the short Trek series to do all these things like get the Enterprise crew back to kind of do a quick 1 or 2 episode thing. I mean, obviously budget constraints might be a thing, so they'd have to build sets for whatever, or maybe have like Hikaru Sula get George Takei back, sit in the Admiral's chair for a bit and review some logs for like 20 minutes. That would be awesome. Just little things like that people would eat up.
Yes,
and the problem is I'm now contradicting myself entirely when I said let's do something completely away from Star Trek, but actually I want it all to be on Star Trek.
Well, tell me you wouldn't be in for These Were the Voyages, like, and do a proper real send off for the Enterprise crew, especially now that the shuttle pod is so popular again, and just have them come on for 1 and 2 episodes. That'd be great.
Back to the original conceit of not tying absolutely everything to that. My first thought would be something where the Borg is the only tie. Maybe like we're say we're like the second or third race that the Borg are beginning to assimilate. Because what you sort of had built in with the Elorians is they're scattered to the winds and they pop up wherever you want to have them pop up. They're very well-traveled races, so that easily builds into the plot. Okay, our homeland shattered. Now we follow these different people cast to the winds. They're traveling. That makes it easy to set up different interactions, and it's a
That
lot
could almost
more
be Battlestar
traveled than.
Galactica-ish, couldn't it be? This like lone ship sort of struggling to fight to go away from like an unseen enemy kind of thing.
You can do what Voyager failed to do, and actually have them in like dire situations of survival.
Man, if you give me a Borg origin story that doesn't kind of ruin everything, that'd be good. I thought the books did a good Borg origin story with the Destiny series, but
I think I know what you got to do, because it's something that, well, it's something that's only barely touched on, and it would be still Trek adjacent, but do one on the Iconians. Like, go back, that's that entire empire that you don't really know what the origin was, and it's just you've got little tastes of it.
so I've got to that in Star Trek Online now. There's a whole Iconian arc, and they're mostly like, how they've portrayed them is mostly kind of sort of, they call them heralds, and they're sort of like basically crystalline dicks, not physical like dick, no, as in like arseholes. Not well. Yeah. Anyway, hey, we found the tone lower.
I'm rock hard, baby.
But yeah, there's Iconian's kind of a lot there, but yeah, an official maybe a canon Iconian maybe could be interesting.
Yeah, because that's all conjecture. You can throw all that out to tell a new story, and I just think that's something that could be really interesting. Or that the species that the ancient humanoid is from.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dynamic you could have there. I mean, you could have the sphere builders, the people that built the Dyson spheres, and those people, the chase people that spread their seed out in the world, and like, there's a whole ancient universe. What was it? Picard, the model that Picard built in a bottle, the ancient civilization he obsesses about for a while. I forget.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what? I forget what they're called now.
It's from Booby Trap. Is
yeah,
the
that's
episode.
the one. Yes.
We're fake fans, but
Come on, chat, save us.
The issue is they're only going to pick races that have super minimal prosthetics because everyone has to look sexy and they all have to look human. They're not having like big foreheads and features.
Listen,
and
your
stuff
definition
is so
of sexy
90s.
is very different to mine.
Dude, it's so 90s. Well, I mean, look at the Romulans and Picard. They're like, no, we're just going to remove the foreheads and everyone's going to look hot now. And we're going to have incest storylines and we're going to have love storylines with every single Romulan that's on the show. Like, am I wrong?
Yeah.
So, you know.
You're 100% success rate up to, except for, the ones that Dodge blew up, right? I don't think there was a romantic subplot with them, right?
Yeah, well, the XBs, I guess.
But... I mean, read the books. There probably was. Like, Star Trek books are as bad as Star Wars for that kind of thing. Of finding the odd character. I mean, there's a whole series set around Sonia Gomez. Like, I mean, not that that's wrong, but they will take every little by character and like expand a whole thing about them.
And the other thought that I had was a like a perspective flip on something that we've already had. Like something like the Romulan War. The Romulan Federation War, but from the Romulans' perspective. It's hard to do a series where the quote unquote villain is the main perspective, but then that would be part of the idea. Or maybe something, well, it would be depressing, but the Kardashian occupation of Bajor or something like that. Yeah. Because there could be a lot of compelling storytelling that could come from something like that. But I get your point that it's all just off the coattails of some other thing.
That's what happens when you have a franchise like Star Wars plays to it so much. Like with the Star Wars sequel trilogy, like it was nothing but like here's R2-D2, here's Luke Skywalker, and all that kind of stuff. And it's all like none of it felt like none of the characters felt like they earned their place in that series without riding on the backs of the existing franchise. Which is why The Mandalorian is good. On the flip side, The Mandalorian's good because it does that, has the kind of the references, but he stands out and just goes, here's a new character we're throwing into this universe. I'm like, okay.
Well, and that was what I think the wasted potential of like The Force Awakens is like the most interesting things in that movie were the new things, were the new characters. but then just where they went with it was
Yeah,
just
they just screwed up.
completely uncompelling. Trekkie for Life has a really interesting idea from chat to tell the story of the split between the Vulcans and the Romulans.
Oh yeah, I forget what they called it now.
The ununification.
The bifurcation.
The sundering. The sundering. I think it was called something like that. Anyway.
It's telling various sundries.
I didn't want to be on your planet anyway, Baka. I'm sorry. That's the only anime reference I will ever make.
Wow.
Ever. I'm hip. I'm with it.
Hey, listen, there's a Dragon Ball movie coming out soon. I'm very hyped for that. But we can't talk about that's just me.
Oh, we can talk about it, but you might be the only one talking about it.
Well, I'll find my own friends with Dragon Ball. We'll start Dragon Ball talks, and then that'll be Isn't Goku cool? Yeah. Okay, that's the end of it.
All right, I tell you what. Since Silver Metal wants to talk about Strange New Worlds again,
we are hyped.
I gotta say, I'm old man yells at clouds at this point, and you guys know it. But I have zero expectations now, and if something if something exceeds it, then I'll start tuning in. But New Trek has had a pretty big miss rate for me lately, so. Episodic is good, but there's a lot of other things that go into the Trek that I like, So if I say something's not Trek, here's my blanket explanation. We all know what we're talking about when we say not Trek. We mean it's not like the other series, which,
Well, this is what I like about us. Like, we've all kind of got... I think me and Stars are on the same page, but I think we've all kind of got different sort of interpretations of what we take from Trek and what we want from episodes and what we like, and I like that we have different opinions on it, even though, and hopefully we respect each other's opinions. I mean, you haven't said so much, but but we do. You like what you Trek, and you have your own complaints with new Trek because it's not what you want essentially, or not what you expect. But I think, like you've said,
I like seeing the love light in your eyes when a new ship comes on screen and you take 1,000 screenshots.
Picard was just But the best thing about that wasn't just the ships on the screen. It was all the like Dave Blass, the producer, went on Twitter and just posted in-depth breakdowns about every ship, its class, its number, its registration, and the name it gave it, and I was just like, oh, this is gold. Like, they've really put the thought into every single one, and there was like, there's a new version of the Excelsior. Oh, sorry. No, just
and then he just
don't forget your faction shuttles.
Shit.
Yep, no, thank you. Right,
no, wait, I'm flipping people. Them. You talk, and then I'll talk when I'm done flipping them.
No, hang on. What have I got? I need to see how much time I got left. I've got a minute and 15 before mine come in, so I'll do the talking, I guess.
Damn, I'm good.
Sorry for people that aren't aware. We're doing an event in Star Trek Timelines at the moment where we have to keep an eye on the time
because we all want Tiana. Come on. Cortana. I still don't know how to pronounce it.
I think it's Tana. I always say Ta'ana.
Ta'ana? Yeah.
What do they say in the show?
Respect the trigger, boys.
Sorry.
It was suspense music, bro.
Oh. I didn't even hear it.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, sorry.
It doesn't come through. All right, shuttles are flipped. I will now carry these Strange New Worlds conversation.
Oh, my voice is complete as well. There we go.
Steam is taking forever to load.
So, on that note,
like, my voyage crashed. Doo-doo.
You niftied it. How concerned are you about the characters that are already established in canon? Pike not counting, because Anson Mount has kind of defined that already, and same with Ethan Peck as Spock. But I mean, I'm talking about Mbenga, Chapel, and Uhura for I mean, Uhura and them all, they're going to be changing some aspect of the character, partly because they're younger people and it's a sort of different style of series. And I wonder how much that concerns you about the kind of development they'll have.
Well, it's just, I feel so fucking old when I talk about New Trek. I just don't like changing things. It's like they're trying to have their cake and eat it too. They want to take an established character because they know there's backstory and they know that there's people have connections to it. But then they want to change those connections and backstories, and it's like, well, if you're going to do, I don't like prequels for that reason. If they want to do a sequel and add more story on what happened later, then that makes sense. But it's like, Even this recasting thing, I don't dislike it because it's a black or white thing. I just don't like changing established stuff. If you wanted to make a new black captain, make him a total badass, give him his own show, that would be fantastic, and I'd tune in for that. So,
Well, and it's just you are opening yourself up for more continuity, more canon fuckery, for lack of a better word. But just because it's like if you ride that close to danger, then danger is just gonna find you, and you're gonna screw stuff up because you can't think of everything when you're writing your story. I
But
mean,
it's
and with
sorry.
Ahura especially, it's like how old was Ahura supposed to be during TOS? I mean, is she going to be on the Enterprise as
I was
Like we're
thinking
only,
like early 20s. I don't know for sure, but
I think we're only five
yeah?
years
And this
before. I think this is going to be the 5-year mission, isn't it? Like this is the Pike's 5-year mission. So even if they do
so
that, that's
she's
not
so she's going to be what, like 17?
possibly.
I didn't.
yeah, but
I mean,
everyone's a prodigy in Star Trek, so it's okay.
exactly. Well, we already knew who it was with all the language she learns. But I mean, like Crusher, Wesley Crusher was a cadet helming the bridge of the Enterprise D, and he was he was like 14.
Right,
Yes,
but
and
that's a
that
common
was
complaint that everyone has that he was too
and
young to be doing that.
it was very conspicuously shown to be something that was odd and out of the ordinary uh, at the time. Uh, Even though they went ahead with it, it was still, it's like what's a kid doing on the bridge? And not that there's anything necessarily wrong with that. It's just I think if you're going to use a legacy character, there needs to be a compelling reason for them to be there. You don't need to have them there just to have them there. It's like, what is your story reason for them all to be there?
All
Because
right,
if it's yeah, go ahead.
here's a good one from chat. Sometimes they have to change things. Having Pike say, "I'm not used to my first officer being a woman," just doesn't work today.
True.
That's fine. Yeah, if you want to change that kind of stuff. One of the things I love, it's the Abraham Lincoln episode where he says to her, "What a charming negress," and we cringe, we flinch when we hear that today. But she's classy as fuck. She's like, doesn't bother me. She goes, "We've learned, that words can't hurt us in this century." I'm like, that's right, they can't. So she's like, she flips it on its head, and she's a total badass. But it's true. On my last rewatch of TOS, like every single episode, they are metaphorically slapping the bottom of whatever woman has chosen to be on that episode, and it's like, all right, you can tell, the writers' room smelled of stale cigars and alcohol at that point. It was like, all old white dudes. So if you want to add some of that, to freshen up some of that stuff, that's cool.
It's a Gene Roddenberry series. I mean, Major Barrett was his mistress that he married. So go from there. The sexist intonations from the '60s very much lived on. But yeah. But one point I was going to say, the characters of Uhura, but more importantly, like Omega and Chapel, we don't know much about them. Like, there isn't a lot of canon for Chapel. Like, there's not much about what she does, who she is, what she does, other than she's infatuated with Spock at a certain point, at least in the original series. And that she had a lover that went on to create some hot but insane robots. That's kind of all we know. So I like that there's options, especially with Omega as well, because we know not much about him. There's options to sort of enhance. It gets a bit tricky with people like Spock, where you're like, everything you add is already a riskier kind of riskier sort of intonation, which is why Spock's story in this is going to be interesting, especially the Amok Time stuff. But yeah, I am intrigued, and from what I've seen from the trailers, I quite like. I think it's Jess Bush as Chapel. She seems to have a kind of nice repartee with Spock already. We'll have to see how that develops. But
Yeah. Well, yeah, and was just said, it's like Twitch with Jay here. It's tricky because we already know how it ends, so to speak.
yes,
So
that's the problem
you
with the
guys
prequel.
have you guys watched Breaking Bad and/or Better Call Saul?
I have not.
Yeah, I watched Breaking Bad up to about season 3, and then I stopped because my wife wouldn't let me watch TV shows in bed anymore.
So I've watched it. A lot of people have had it. It's kind of a cultural phenomenon, or it was at a point. And so they did 5 seasons, which, spoiler alert, it's a pretty old show, ends with a lot of people dying. So now they go back and do Better Call Saul, which is set before that, and I think they're ending now on their 6th season. And it's like, so you know what happens to these characters, and they have to find compelling storylines for all of them. They have to still find twists that you didn't think of in their backstory, and the writers have done a fantastic job with that, making really clever things without necessarily. I don't think they've retconned anything at this point, or nothing major. So. If you can get really clever writers to add these little twists and turns without being like, oh, by the way, Spock's sister. Sorry, that's like that one's a bridge too far.
It's been like 5 years.
It's a bridge too far for me. Sorry,
It doesn't make any more sense now than it did then. It's just been there long enough that you've just.
I think they explained it well with the backstory with Sarek, and they managed to entwine it in, especially with her Burnham and crew disappearing into the 32nd century under a confidential thing. Like, that made sense, and we never saw at any point. Maybe Spock did tell Jim that he had a sister, and Jim would have been like, "Great, where is she?"
Well, yeah, but the issue is Burnham is such a central, pivotal historical figure. She saved the universe like 3 times in the first 3 seasons, that you would think that person would get brought up. So, like, on one hand, it diminishes how important she is that she's never came up. But then they're trying to
give my well actually hat on here, because I think in the first series they didn't save the universe. They just kind of dicked about in the mirror universe and came back and kind of everyone stopped the Klingon war. But the second series, she did save the universe. Yes, I'll give you that one.
Okay, they only stopped the war and then had medals pinned on all their chests at the end of the season. My bad. That's almost nothing.
Yeah. Who gives a shit?
All right, can we talk about food?
Sure.
Too much New Trek. I'm melting. I started a collection of meats.
Of course, as you do.
Make that a chat trigger. Well, as you know, Stars is visiting me later this month. So
speaking of collection of meat,
I know he's a connoisseur of fine meats. Dude, there's gonna be so much beef on your screen. These two big boys are gonna be side by side.
There it is.
These two big boys are going to be side by side on one screen. It's going to be glorious. He's going to do a hair flip, and I'm going to not, because I don't have hair. But
yeah, you really need to upgrade your camera just to capture that all. I think
wide angle lens. Now don't be too. We're still 2 svelte young men, but So anyway, I have this collection of meats.
I can't wait because I don't know how tall either of you are, so I'm waiting for one of you to be comically short.
I'm going to stand on a box, and he's going to be like... Yeah, I'm not a tall guy myself. I'm 5'8", so I imagine he's gonna be like a foot taller than me. But so anyway, a collection of meats and fine cheeses, and
very nice.
There's once a week, every week, the big French cheese truck comes to town with their 1,000 varieties of cheeses. So
it's like funny in America we have like the ice cream trucks that come around and sell bomb pops and stuff, and you have a fine French cheese truck.
Yeah, we're gonna make adult.
That. We get the ice cream.
We're gonna make adult Lunchables.
Where the fuck is the brie lorry?
Come on. That's the most British way you could have described that. It's like that Winnie the Pooh meme where he's like drilling from his mouth. It says cheese truck, and then he's got the monocle on brie lorry. Okay.
You asshole! You had to wait until I took a big swig of water and then say that. And I almost just spit it all over my camera.
So I'm failing to send overnights here because of this witty repartee. I've sent.
I can tell you're struggling pretty hard.
Yeah, it's like every 2 seconds you're looking down. I had the presence of mind to have mine set up to where I still had another hour before mine turned around.
I failed on that.
All right, so tell me, what is your favorite form of adult Lunchables? Like things that you know what Lunchables are, like the little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow! Look at him try.
So are you saying if I were to assemble my own Lunchables, or
like the sort of it's fancier than it should be, but at its core, it's really just like your comfort food, kind of food porn, shitty food porn. That's what I'm thinking about.
Oh man, I'm gonna need a minute to think about that and give it the proper weight and attention that it deserves.
I don't know. Are we talking like as a meal, or is this just something, a snack you just go? It's like, it's
No,
about 9
just
o'clock
like-
in the evening and I fancy a piece of cheese or something.
Like one step up from midnight cheese. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think I've
Okay.
ever gone there. I think it's usually like I open the fridge and then look and see what we've got. Then I close it. Then I lower my standards and then I open it again and go, oh yeah, that'll do.
Wow.
I'm
You
just
guys.
gonna say this, and I know this is controversial, but easy cheese in a can is delicious.
Wow. I don't think they
Okay.
sell that here. I've never seen it in the shop.
I think the French truck has it with them, but they save it for special VIP guests.
Yes, no,
it's the squeeze.
they make you
it's the
sign
squeeze.
they make you sign a waiver before they will sell it to you. It's like, look, you know.
Tier 10. That's right, Chad. It's a tier 10 cheese.
Look, I'm not going to argue
here
with
we
you
go. All
that
right.
it is not a garbage product.
I
It
asked
is.
for it. I apologize, Big.
Neither's JG Palmer, but here we are.
Yeah. It's awful. There's nothing about it that is a quality thing that you, while you're eating it, you're like, I am proud of myself for eating this. No.
So do
you're
you
not.
do you pair it with anything like special, or is it just with like crackers?
No, I think it's Ritz crackers, and just
Okay.
that's
All right.
it's nothing fancy, and you make
Everyone's
a little.
allowed a vice. It's okay.
Yeah, and I to be honest with you, I haven't had it in probably 15 years, but it is something nostalgic that is part of what I grew up with, and is always going to read as something pleasurable to me, even though I can buy much nicer stuff and eat much nicer stuff. It's good. I'm sorry. It tastes good to me.
So
It's kind of like how a grilled cheese sandwich. It's like American cheese is awful. It is yellow cheese flavored plastic, but in that context of a grilled cheese sandwich, it's just the right cheese for that. And I
will
can't
kind of agree with you, because we have plastic cheese everywhere. We call it shit cheese, and it's usually like you buy 15 slices of shit cheese, I call it.
Boy, everything's so fancy over in Britain, isn't
Oh,
it?
it's so good. We've got the squirty
can't
cheese.
get the shit
scooter and
cheese out the back there.
Yes. Darling, are we out of the good shit cheese or the brie shit cheese now? But I will, we'll go on the barbecue. I'll make myself a burger and I'll put it on the barbecue. And it'll be the fattest, thickest burger, like stuffed with something or whatever, and I'll make it from hand. And I will slap this long and this thick, and I will slap the shittest bit of shit cheese on top of that and put that in a bun, because that's the only cheese you can have on a burger. It is a piece of plastic melting slowly on top that's going to give you a heart attack at some point in your life.
So I make these bacon wrapped usually cheddar stuffed burgers. They're so fantastic, and you can substitute other cheeses. Generally, the softer the better, but it's really a luxuriant experience when you open those bad boys and it comes pouring out of there. So I think you can do slightly better than slapped piece on top. But
Can we start tiering cheeses? Like I'm really interested to see the big book of cheese advice.
yeah, but think of how bad the puns would be. I mean, you camembert it.
Oh, there it is. And who's the dad?
Well, the problem is, I mean, it's just like I don't really believe in cheeses, so I can't really. That died in the room.
What?
Sorry, I was in shock with Cranky's. I used to have the Billy Bear face ham with plastic cheese. I don't know if you've seen this. The ham you can buy in the shop, and it's usually like it's made of some reprocessed shit, and it's like in a face of a bear, or maybe they'll do one with like Garfield or something like that, and there'll be two textures of ham. There'll be like a slightly dark ham and a slightly lighter one, and it's horrible. It's like really thinly sliced as well. Like you get your 10 slices.
I thought of another adult Lunchables thing. It's a German.
I did too.
It's a German thing called Fleischkäse, which translates to meat cheese. and it's basically it comes in like this oval tin,
For a
and
bit of
it's
cheese.
yeah. He's with us in spirit. It's like I can still hear him sometimes. And the texture is nasty and sticky and goopy, but you throw it in the oven, you cook it up, and it basically turns into a giant oval-shaped, thick hot dog. And then you slice it and put it on bread or whatever. So you're basically just eating
Sounds
like,
nice.
a build-your-own hot dog, but it's actually like really good. And the tin it comes in, you would think it's like, oh, that's kind of like low rent, but I like it. So that's my adult Lunchables version of hot dogs.
Like a good like deli quality salami and or pepperoni. Those are going to be my top meats for those kind of things. Because normally the Lunchables, unless you're doing the Lunchables pizza, which is absolute garbage in every
Debatable
capacity.
term of pizza as well.
Yeah. It's normally like ham or turkey or chicken, which lunch meat chicken that
Yeah.
never works for me. So, that's the first upgrade to make, is to upgrade it to like a salami or a pepperoni or that kind of thing. And then, just upgrade the cheese from, American or cheddar or something. Maybe get like a provolone, maybe maybe like a Munster or something. That might be kind of good. So that's how the direction that I would probably go with it. And then maybe go with some like pretzel chips, something like that. Maybe
Are you building nachos?
maybe. Hey, why not? Well, see, I'm trying to meet this challenge in the way that I think it was originally intended. Was like, if you're going to make an adult version of a Lunchable, what would you have on it? And maybe like a pita chip, with like pepperoni.
Bro, miss me with that shit. I don't want pita chips anywhere near my meats and cheeses. Give me like a good baguette that you can tear and share. Pita chips,
Yeah.
come on.
Well, because I don't know, it's got more body to it than like like a saltine or something.
Yeah, but you can find something whole grain,
Yeah.
or an actual pita. That would be enough.
Or like maybe like a Triscuit or something. Something that's got like some heft to it.
Triscuit. Is that like a brisket?
You don't
You
know
get 3 of them?
Dude.
Okay, so that's an aside we're gonna have.
How disappointing is it when your chip breaks off, and then you grab the piece that broke and it breaks again, and 3 seconds later your fingers are like covered like this far with either salsa or cheese, and you're just like sitting there like licking your fingers.
And you never really see it coming, especially if it's like salsa, because it's like salsa, the viscosity is such that you don't really expect it's going to break off in the frickin' salsa. But it does, and then you have to go like
now.
Yeah, well, it's like, and then
structural integrity fields have failed on this chip. We need to redesign the Triscuit D at this point.
Yeah. Well, and then you have to do like the deep sea salvage, where you either dig in with your hands or you get another chip and you have to like rescue it from the depths of the salsa bowl, or you leave it in there for someone else to find, which is another adventure.
Tell them what a Triscuit is, because that's got good structural integrity.
Yeah. So Triscuit is essentially kind of a shredded wheat kind of cracker, essentially. To where it's like it's like shredded wheat cereal, something that you're familiar with.
Shredded wheat.
Yeah. So just imagine one of those that is like pressed out into the size and shape of a cracker, or like
It's all over
like a
Yes, Anson, it's all over me.
Good love chat.
So like
it's a square. It's just a little square.
Yeah.
And then they spray it with some like loose concrete mix, so that no matter how hard you try to break it, it still retains its shape.
And then it's well, because and it's somehow they make the interior of it pretty salty, so it's like when you bite into it, it's
but a good salt.
A good.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tricky for Life says Triscuits are gross as shit. What the hell? How do you eat that? Well, agree to disagree. Pretty soon in the future, we'll all be eating blue, red, and orange little cubes and rhomboid dronagos.
Oh,
well,
no.
and
yes, we need to see them on Strange New Worlds. If there's not a tray full of various coloured cubes,
that's
they
true.
Just replicate
That'll
shit.
sucker me in.
And here's a fun bit of trivia though. Do you know what Triscuit, where the name Triscuit comes from? Obviously you don't. I don't, since you didn't even know what a Triscuit was until 2 minutes ago.
What if he knew this, but he didn't know what a Triscuit
Yeah,
was?
right. So
I kind of got
people.
theory.
Okay. Oh no, please.
My theory
Entertain us
with
with your
Triscuit
theory.
is it they're laying 3 types of biscuit over to kind of form this really dense biscuit.
The tri-biscuit.
The tri-biscuit
That
is in the name.
that is a common theory. Wrong, but common.
Big
Damn
is
you,
like,
logic.
wrong, bitch.
No, it actually is short for electric biscuit.
What?
Yes. Yeah.
What's
No,
made-
you can. Yeah.
Was it made by the electric machine back in the back in the old
Well,
the
yeah,
electric
like in the 50s. That's
Oh
where.
my god!
That's
the first biscuits
yeah.
we made with electricity. Christ.
yeah.
Yeah, fun fact that TOS season 2 episode was originally called The Gamesters of Triscuits, and they were sued by the company. They had to change to Triskelion, which was similar but not quite the same biscuit.
Nice. That is a fun fact.
All right, I'm gonna go get another beer. Idle, we've been talking all over you for the last 10 minutes.
No,
so.
it's fine. It makes a difference. I talk at the start and let you guys waffle on. It's fine. We used to have a game I used to play at a bar, and this is such a posh British sounding thing, but we used to play a game where we used to try and name a cheese, and then the next person names another type of cheese, and we couldn't repeat each other. Like, we couldn't say a different type, and we used to keep going until whoever couldn't answer with a new type of cheese. It used to be like brie, and the next minute like camembert, like Emmental, and like you just try and name as many different cheeses as you could, and that does sound like a very middle class kind of game, doesn't it?
Well, no, my kids play games like with that, but they make the criteria just like absurdly large, like animals. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
you guys are
yeah.
losing. It just know you're losing in advance because you're playing a grown ass adult just asking for
kidnap.
animals.
Fuck you.
Yeah, or just
Red alarm.
Or like-
red alarm.
Thank
red
you,
alarm.
Cacophony Pie, for following. Thank you.
God knows why, but God bless you. So, yeah, and it seems like Europe would have a built-in advantage on number and variety of cheeses.
I think a lot, like from what I read, like, you know, obviously talk to you guys and talk to a lot of other Americans and sort of follow Reddit. You know, honestly, world food is world food. Like, everyone's eating the same kind of thing the world over. Like, you guys are now sort of discovering the wonders of curries and a lot of like more Asian foods and things like that. You know, a lot of more Indian foods come over to America lately. It's quite funny hearing people saying, "I'm going to eat that Indian food, the tikka masala." I'm like, the tikka masala was invented in London, but there we are. A lot of, you know,
Well,
yeah.
You know, I guess I can confession time. I have never had curry of
Have you
any
not?
type
Ooh.
or stripe.
Wow,
I
you should.
I would.
It's good.
It just never.
It's
It's
not-
never.
Never around.
Never happened. Never
Oh,
had.
wow,
had
wow. We need to get you having a curry. Like, it's not necessarily, you don't have to have like a spicy curry. I'm sure you've had hot stuff. Like, it's good, but just like the flavour they put into it, like a curry sauce, even like a korma or like a tikka masala. Like dinner I cooked tonight. I got yogurt and I had tandoori spice and I put the two together and I put it inside of a wrap and put mince in it and it was gorgeous. Like, you know, that kind of Asian sort of Indian spicing is just amazing. I love Indian food.
Well, Sycophancy Pie, our new follower, says tikka masala was invented in Glasgow.
Okay, there we go. Yes. Somewhere, it's still British, even though, you know, Scotland are threatening to secede. But hey, we'll ignore that for now.
It was invented in Leningrad.
Chicken tikka masala. That went Jamaican somehow.
Your man.
Yeah.
All right, let's not go down the road of racial stereotypes, if we could, please.
Let's see how many people you can piss off in 15 seconds. Go.
Yeah.
We've already talked about Strange New Worlds, so there we are.
I mean, we did start the stream, you know, picking on Americans, which are really the most persecuted class in the world.
Of course,
So
yes, really, so hard done by.
let's not tick anyone else off.
I've made a tactical error in this whiskey choice, even though I love it so much. It's like I don't know if you can see it here. You can't really focus in on it. I'm trying to get it. It's
Single
well,
malt.
it's 54.2% alcohol by volume.
Okay.
And I am on number 3.
What's your stereotypical
And-
whiskey percentage?
40%
is okay. Okay, right, yeah.
the bog standard
Get loose and
whiskeys.
big.
Yeah, this is pretty hefty stuff, and
And it's about 3:00 in the afternoon for you, isn't it?
it's almost it's almost 4.
This is an intervention, actually.
Yeah.
Big's like, it's okay. I took an eyedropper and added 2 drops, so I'm fine. I can have another few shots.
I've told you about the time I went to a whiskey distillery tour, didn't I? And they were talking about how people went around this tour, and I was driving and my wife was pregnant, so we couldn't drink. And neither of them were like, "We'll buy a bottle, it's fine, we'll go." When they were doing tastings, I'm like, "We can't have anything." But they were talking about how there are people that get this particular kind of whiskey, and they measure in pipettes how many drops of water it takes to make it perfect. And they say, like, this one, 5 pipettes, perfect. Or I'm just like, tap, there it is. Yeah.
Well, it's like I don't do water at all. I drink everything
usually, but yeah.
neat. And people swear by it, to where it's like it opens up the whiskey or whatever. It's like I'm gonna take the distiller's opinion for it. And
some of the
like,
I think the guy, because it's the English whiskey distillery company that's near me, and he did say, just popping in a drop of water and it just it makes it nicer. And I've tried it, and it makes a little bit of difference, but it's also.
Well, then why didn't you drop it in the water, asshole?
They only sell you the most premium product. They would never water down their own.
Well, hang on. You buy squash that you have to water down with. You have to put a little bit in the bottom of your glass and put water in. What's the difference?
Are you
no
drinking
I'm not,
squash?
I'm really not.
What are we?
Wait, what?
Wait, okay. I think we've got I think we've got some cross dialectical English.
Okay, so in Britain you can buy you can buy juices, and you can buy squash, which is basically non-diluted, pure, like really condensed. You put a little bit in your glass.
Concentrate.
Concentrate, is that what you call it? Okay, we call it squash.
Yeah.
Squash.
We got squash and juice.
All right, this time you're the drooling Winnie in the meme template, all right?
Yeah.
We call it squash. America with the monocle calls it concentrate.
Concentrate, oh darling. The Seattle Fraser crowd is going to have a concentrate.
It's a bomber concentratory orange juice.
Well, actually, if you come around here and talk, people will say it's Ribena.
All right, since you brought it up, I was recently turned on to spaghetti squash, which you'll just, brush with olive oil, cook in the oven, and then you can take a fork and pull it apart, and it pulls apart into strands. It's kind of like spaghetti, so you can add, wife does lemon ricotta chicken, or you can do, there's a lentil bolognese, which is like a total vegan dish, but it's actually like the only one that I really love. So you can do a lot with that.
Butternut squash. Butternut squash, you can do the same kind of thing, sort of like cook it and pull it all about, and you mix it with like you said, ricotta cheese, and it's just lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, we were doing keto dieting for a while, which severely restricts carbohydrates, and so we did a lot of spaghetti squash to kind of get that same kind of because we have our spaghetti nights once a week, so that was kind of the substitute, and it worked fine. The kids weren't as into it as we were.
I was just going to say, did it pass the kid test?
It got to the point where she's like, okay, well, I'll make a little pot of spaghetti for you, and then we'll do squashes over here. But I enjoyed it. It's like we would do a half of the squash for dinner, and then I would take the other half for me to work the next day, to be my lunch for the next day. And I liked it just fine. It's like, as long as you had enough sauce or something to kind of mix in with it, and if you like seasoned the squash itself enough that it had some flavor on its own, then it
so if you add meat, cheese, sauce, and then remove the squash, it's actually quite good.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I read
okay, all right, tell me how much flavor dry, flavorless pasta has.
Actually, to be fair, I've made my own pasta, and if you put that bit of salt, little sort of bit of cheese on top, lovely. Just drop, Anyway, but what the point I was going to say was, like, do you know why restaurant food, when you go out for a meal, why restaurant food is automatically just really nice? It's because the chef.
Because you pay for it.
No, the chef doesn't give a fuck what your diet is. He's going to put as much oil and butter in there as he likes, and he's just like, there it is, serve it up, and you're just like, yes, this feels good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and
I say, Have you tried seasoning your pasta? What was that? It's this kind of weird thing, but we were at a greenery, what is it called, nursery the other day, buying plants and stuff, and they had a big tub with like tubes filled with seasonings, so like wild garlic and rosemary and this and that, and they were all sorted by flavor. So you can grab those and you can sprinkle them in, whatever you want. And I'm thinking maybe some dried seasonings might work good if you're making your own pasta, because I haven't done that in years. But
I do it fairly often. Like every now and then, I sometimes like have a lazy Sunday, and I'll be like, I'm just gonna make, or I'll have a Sunday free of doing.
bro,
anything.
it's not lazy.
It's
if you're
not lazy.
making
It's quite
pasta.
labor intensive, but it's like I'll have a free Sunday. Like I'll have some time. And I'm like, yeah, let's make some pasta and get the boys into. They love just like getting this bit of dough and just smashing it onto the worktops. It's quite good. And then like finally, I bought a pasta machine that was really cheap, and then broke it because I used it so much. I was like, all right, maybe I'll buy a decent one. No, because it's like you do it. Like people do it. They buy a pasta machine, going, I can't do this, and then they put it in the cupboard to put on dust. But I was quite happy that I managed to use mine after a while.
Yeah, actually, it's like we, as you do, actually, we didn't get it as a wedding present. It's a very stereotypical wedding present, but we got and when we got the house as a rental, my wife's parents sent us a stand mixer, and once you have that stand mixer, it's got the ability for all kinds of attachments. It's like you can put like a meat grinder attachment, and then like a pasta machine attachment and stuff like that, and then so that was the gateway into doing these kind of things. I don't know where I was going with that.
Have you seen those automatic pasta machines? The ones that just do all the thing for you. You just put all the ingredients in and it does all the douging. And
You
then
can throw a small child in there and it grinds it up and like spits it out.
you make the
It's incredible.
perfect infant pen,
NA, please.
Sorry. But it does. You put it all in there and it processes it out. But it looks horrible coming out because it looks like it just looks like something coming out of,
I don't know. Please describe in more detail.
No, I'm
How
good
good
there.
would
Thanks.
how good would the name USS Extruder be for like a starship? Would that
Extruder.
whet your palate for a new show? The captain of the extruder. We're venting plasma. So one of our favorite attachments was a sausage maker meat grinder. It's got the little spinning fan blades. You put the meat in and it'll spit out ground whatever you want. So we fell in love with that early on. We haven't used it enough recently, but we've done chicken spinach feta burgers with that, and that's turned out great. So
I've been threatening to grind and do my own burgers for quite a while, and I haven't done it yet.
Threatening to grind.
So you've just sent me. This is the on stream now. This is the bear cheese we were talking about earlier, where it's like the very very processed to fuck ham. Just
via
my
Cranky.
Lord.
Yeah,
Via Cranky, who makes
Cranky.
the most ridiculous photos of this food that it's like I'm like effort.
Look, okay, you look at that and you ask someone that has no familiarity with it at all. It's like, where does this come from? The UK or America? 99 out of 100 would say America. This is an American
No, we
thing.
have this in ours. It's just ground up everything that was left over from the animal, put into a paste, smeared over a machine, and then spray painted in different colors.
It's like you know what America is missing? Raccoon bologna. There it is.
It actually reminds me of those popsicles, that they sell individually wrapped with the different faces on them.
Yeah.
Though when you unwrap them, look nothing.
Yeah.
But that is another thing that is of my youth that tastes better to me than it would taste to anyone else. It's fried bologna. Because it was like the first thing I ever learned how to make for myself when I was 10 years old, is just put bologna in a pan with butter and fry it on. And then put it on a sandwich, and it was delicious.
When I was 18, I was working like bars. I was working a lot of night work, and I wasn't eating very well. I used to wake up at like 2:00 in the afternoon and go to work. But like before I went to work, my mum was like, "Well, you're going to be out before I cook dinner, so I've just put loads of microwave meals into the freezer. You just go and have them." And she used to buy me some all sorts of outrageous stuff, like microwave toad in the hole, microwave like you can get microwave like a full English breakfast, which was like, how do you even do that? And somehow they did, and there were all sort of variations of just awful. But I used to live on that for a while.
I'm gonna go ahead and have you circle back around to Toad in a Hole.
You do know what Toad in the Hole is? Do you know what Toad in the Hole is?
I do not.
Toad in the Hole is
not.
amazing. So basically, Toad in the Hole is sausages. It's sausages. You basically fry up the sausages or grill them in the oven, and then you put over the top. You all the fat that comes off the sausage. You put on the top batter mixture, and then you put it in the oven again, and it rises up like a Yorkshire pudding. So basically, you have like sausages in this Yorkshire pudding mix that you then eat with a bit of gravy.
It's kind of like pigs in a blanket.
Yeah,
okay.
Not quite, because pigs in a blanket is just sausages and bacon wrapped around it, but it's more like it is. Or it is
bacon
in the UK is. Yeah, it's just got bacon.
Oh,
Yeah, you have different pigs and toads and
Yeah.
such.
Yeah, Toad in the Hole is awesome. Toad in the Hole is awesome.
Have you guys seen the movie Cinderella Man? It's
No.
Oh,
We've seen Cinderella.
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Been Cinderella.
It's Russell Crowe as a Depression era boxer, and you guys actually might like the movie. There's a scene in there where, they can't afford to pay the bills. They're watering down their milk to get by, and so they have. He has like one piece of bologna as like his meal for the day before he goes and works on the docks, and he gives it to his kid because she's hungry, and it's like, a little bit heart wrenching. So whenever I think of bologna now, I think of that scene in the movie, and I figure as dads, you might enjoy the sacrifice that he makes for his kids. So
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just having a conversation about what a pigs in blanket is on the chat, and it's definitely sausages wrapped in bacon. It's not biscuit wrapped in bacon. Come on.
okay, but the link you
in
show
these here
show a
United States of
sausage-
America.
They show a sausage with
Bacon wrapped around it, yeah.
no,
it's
not
like what-
bacon.
What I'm taking from this is that we've missed a trick, and we need to start wrapping the sausages in bacon before we wrap the biscuit around it, and then make that the
This
thing.
must be a regional thing. I didn't realize that, like,
Yeah.
because like pigs in blanket in the UK is literally just a sausage, and we have them at Christmas wrapped around bacon. There is no like pastry at all involved. I didn't.
No, there's
Yeah, the one I know is sausage and then pastry
Oh,
around it. so-
weird.
Yeah,
Didn't even know
there's
that.
there's no bacon involved in the pigs in a blanket
Oh, like
process.
They're both
That's
good,
the
though.
sausage roll. The sausage roll
Yeah.
is sausage in the pastry.
Yeah, which
Wow.
is yeah,
Sausage in a pastry.
yeah, and that's delicious. But now I feel like we need to combine all of that together. You'd probably have to cook the
Yes.
bacon and the sausage in advance before you add the pastry to it, because you'd just end up with floppy bacon in
No,
a
that's a
biscuit.
soggy bottom.
No,
Okay,
and
Paul Hollywood.
and basically, raw bacon wrapped around a sausage. That just sounds atrocious. But if you could make all that happen together, that sounds delicious.
Okay, can we get a little bit primal for a minute? You guys ever
Oh,
the
protomorphosis
cooking-
wolf. Okay, here we go.
you guys ever do the camping trip cooking or fishing, hunting, and killing what or grilling what you kill? Yes, no?
No. Camping
I have
camping
had-
holidays in the UK is taking a grill and then going to Tesco and finding out what you could put on it.
No, I've had ample opportunities to participate in deer hunting, and I have consistently declined. That's just not going to be something that I'm
So
going to
my-
enjoy. But
My wife goes on, or used to before we had kids, used to go on like a lot of shoots, or she used to go on what's called beating, which is basically where you go around the undergrowth, hitting the ground and scaring a noise. So you scare all the birds up, so the people that are doing the shooting shoot the birds. There's a lot of like ducks
Better
and
hope they're a
pigeons.
good shot.
Well, they are. Honestly, they are. And every time she went off, she'd come back and say, I've got a partridge, I've got a duck, I've got a photo of her somewhere, which I'm not going to put on the stream because she would kill me if I did. But
so
I've got
she went off after the beating, is what I got.
I knew there was going to be a joke in there somewhere.
Yeah.
She started beating, and all the boys just fired their weapons.
Yeah, there we are. I knew that was going to remember this. But I've got.
You had to know. I mean, yeah.
Of course I did. Of course I did. But I've got a photo of her looking very angry. I've got a photo of her very angrily sort of looking up at me as she's sort of de-skinning this partridge and pulling all the feathers off it. But I mean, like,
Dude,
I come
I need to see
from-
that photo.
No,
so
you're
put
not.
it
So
in.
you can't. She would kill me. But honestly, I would be a dead man. This dream would no longer be a thing. But I come from quite a farming background. Like my grandparents were farmers. Like they came up. My mum always tells me stories how they used to have like sheep used to just hang out with them in the living room. They used to have rabbits, which they would call like Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail, and all that. And then they would have freezer drawers later on called Flopsy, Mopsy, and Cottontail. It's a common story of like farming life. It's like don't get too attached to your animals because they are very much going to be dinner for someone or yourself soon if we can't sell them.
Yeah.
On that note,
And meanwhile, it's like, and meanwhile, it's like I would catch the fish and then hand it to my dad because I couldn't even take the hook out of the fish. So it's like that's the spectrum of.
Well,
but anyway,
if you're still with an adult at that point, you know, if your dad or your uncle's taking you or something, then it's not expected that you be proficient in it. But growing up, we had the neighbor across the street. His name literally was Hunter. So he hunts all the time, and he would skin them in his garage. He had like a drain at the bottom of the garage and a big meat hook in the middle of the garage. So he'd go out there, open the door so the whole world could see it, and he would just sit there and skin his prize. And as a kid, that was like, oh, it's so cool. We want to go over. So, you know, our parents would let us go over and hang out with Hunter, watch him skin the animals, and sometimes, you know, he'd give us jerky or whatever. And so it was, I don't know. I'm the farthest thing from a vegan, but as I get older, I'm definitely happy to embrace more different types of non-violent forms of food, because
yeah.
I'm also a big pet guy and animal guy, and you know, there's too much cruelty in the world as it is. So if you give me something lab grown that tastes tasty, you know, let's subsidize the hell out of that instead of, you know, tobacco companies or whatever else is getting the money.
Yeah, I mean, I had my first Impossible Burger not that long ago, and it was pretty tasty. I would be fine with that if that's the direction that things needed to go, by and large. Because yeah, it's just like I've never found. I mean, I don't even think joy is necessarily the right word for the hunting thing, but I just killing for its own sake has never been anything that's interested me.
Well, I mean, there's lots of situations where you need population control.
Yeah, and that's the what my dad has hung his hat on for a long time now, and he would be on deer leases where he would have to spend a considerable sum to be on in a year, and now he's in a situation where he has land of his own, and he has a deer blind on his land, and he can just go and you know, you have, and in the US, I don't know how things work elsewhere, but you have tags where you have your certain number of bucks and does or whatever it is that you're allowed in a year, and he does that, and he will send us some of the proceeds of that, and so we will have deer burger and stuff like that, and we will eat off of that, and I don't mind that, but just the things, the me doing it myself thing, that's just not something that's ever going to really appeal to me. No.
Yeah, Cara in chat says, I'll happily find mushrooms and other non-animal products, but I don't eat meat replacements that are named after meat products. I think that's a kind of a cool thing, because I found like, you know, my sister-in-law's a vegetarian as well. I'm not a vegetarian, but you know, I've eaten some sort of meat-free things, but I find like things like corn or like, you know, fake bacon or fake turkey is just like, it's so overproduced. Like when you're eating sort of like vegetarian food, like things like that, it's like if I was suddenly decide to be a vegetarian, yeah, I'd probably do the same thing. I wouldn't eat the sort of the processed crap. I'd try and sort of eat a little bit healthier, but then knowing me, I'd probably just go and order a fake burger from the kebab shop or something and just live with it. But that's just me.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to watch us document eating meat 3 square meals a day while Stars is here, you can check out the Discord, and we'll be sharing photos and videos of all the different burgers and etc. that we're eating. So,
has Stars ever been out in that neck of the woods before?
To Germany, no. He's mentioned Crete before. I don't know where else he's been, but yeah.
What's the okay? Here's a question for you. Where's the furthest you've travelled away from home that isn't America?
Japan for me.
Yeah. I have literally taken a day trip to drive across the border to Mexico so that a friend of mine could pick up a prescription for a mental health medication that he couldn't get in the United States.
Oh my gosh.
USA. USA.
Yeah.
God.
And we got a delicious 4-course meal for including like a tableside bananas Foster for the 4 of us that I think was like $20. And we had a great time, but that is the only time that I have been outside of the continental United States.
America's huge. Like, America's big. You don't need to leave. Like, there's so much you can.
You do. You just don't realize it.
Yeah, I want to. I would like to do more. I would like to do more world traveling, but unfortunately, that requires airplanes for the most of it.
Large sums of cash.
Yes, also that.
Come to England. Sometimes it rains, but I'm here.
I think they put that on the big billboards.
Yeah, the tourism board.
Yeah.
Just me.
Sometimes it rains.
They saw that billboard. They're like, "Damn it, we're voting yes on Brexit."
Yeah, that's what caused it.
Hey, maybe this should be a poll in chat. Should I have a 4th whiskey?
Yeah, that's a yes. Also, what was Japan? Why'd you go to Japan?
It was a school thing, so
Wow,
we were there for 2 weeks.
America, you went to Japan.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was with our school band, so we played a few concerts and whatnot. But I think I was just old enough to enjoy it, which was nice. I have a lot of fond memories of being tall for once. I said I'm 5'8", and I was taller than like every native there, which blew my mind. So.
No, the one time that I played Carnegie Hall was in a band trip. So I got a free trip to New York out of that deal.
Yeah, that was the only time I've been in New York City too. I lived in New York State, but on the other side of the state. So, God bless school for getting us to places that we wouldn't have gone.
Yeah, well, it's like it was kind of cool because the director, the assistant director, had done a symphonic band arrangement of a Frank Zappa piece, and it was the first time that it had ever been played in a
Catholic girls. Catholic girls.
No, actually, it was G-Spot Tornado. So. Wow. So, but yeah, it was the first time that it was ever. Yeah, he was cool. So, but it was also weird because it was, I want to say it was like 2003 or something. So, that trip to New York, that was still very much a recent post 9/11 New York City. So it's like we bust in like right by Ground Zero, and it was still very much Ground Zero at that point. And then also, weirdly, it's like there was an installation in Central Park by this artist named Christo. And it was something that was only there for 2 weeks, but it was in the time that we were there.
Like the vegetable shortening?
No, it was gates. Like these big orange gates of fabric.
No, Crisco.
Yes, Crisco. Yes, it was a large substitute had put in an art installation. No, Christo. But yeah, it's like these big orange fabric gates that were across the entirety of Central Park. So it's like my only time to go out there and see, Central Park. It had all of these weird fabric gates, and that's my memory of it. Yeah, which I've talked to other people. It's like frequent guest Shiaporn. It's like he was there when the gates were up, and he's like he loved it, and it's like that's great if you go to Central Park a lot, but it's like if this is the only chance you've got to go to Central Park, it's like you wanted to see it as it normally is, not as some kind of art experiment.
For podcast listeners, Cranky says that's a yes on the whiskey. So get started if you haven't yet, Big. Trekkie
I
for
already
Life
poured it.
asks,
It's on.
what is the place you guys would like to travel before you die?
I'd like to go to Japan. I like not like Tokyo, but I'd like to go to sort of the more. So I had a friend who was when I was in college with who did a lot of traveling. She went to sort of not quite rural Japan, but sort of one of the more sort of unknown cities and the unknown towns that you don't hear about Tokyo and Kyoto and things like that. But she travelled a lot, and the photos I saw she took looked absolutely stunning. And like I would love to kind of, I'm the kind of the person that likes to go to like a broad place and don't like to go to sort of the tourist traps, but I'd rather kind of go to the place where the people eat and things like that, and sort of have a bit of the more. It sounds so stereotypical tourist, but I want to have a bit more of the authentic experience. You know what it is, But I do, I'd like to go to like the more sort of working person.
These
Japan.
days, a lot of these big cities around the world are getting more homogenized because of technology. So it makes sense you want to go where technology is less touched things.
Well, the most likely thing that's going to get the whole family on a plane is probably going to be to go to Italy.
Italy's lovely.
And yeah, and I'm all for that. Me personally, I can't even really give you a great reason why, but I've always kind of wanted to go to Iceland.
I want to go there as well, actually. Go Reykjavik.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun. And
it's not sunny. The weather isn't great, but I think they've got a lot of good scenery. There's a lot of it's a very volcanic island, and I've heard good things about Iceland actually. It's expensive.
That's what I want.
Very expensive.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
I'm only gonna go there once.
Italy's great though. I've been to Venice a couple of times, and I've never regretted it. Like for some reason people say like, oh, Venice, the rivers stink. I'm like, no, I've never once had that. Like it's always been really nice season, like sunny weather. I went there during Carnival as well. Like there was loads of processions going around and everything like that. It was really great.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we would probably go to Rome, and that's going to be problematic.
Same reason. Like, I've been to Paris, but I never want to go back. Like it's a city.
Did you meet the people?
It's like London to me. What about you, Otto?
Yeah.
I like islands and I like water, so somewhere with islands and water, somewhere.
Hawaii?
Like the TV show Lost. Always had such a strong romantic quality to me, being stranded somewhere and like fuck responsibility and everything else, and just like.
So then you find a hatch with some numbers and no one knows what it means, and then no one ever knows what it means.
Yeah.
And you're chased by a smoke monster until like.
Whoa! I never finished the series, so no
Lost?
spoiler alert.
Wow.
No, I think we got through like 3 seasons, and then for some reason
season
dropped
4.
it.
No, season 5 was good. I really enjoyed season 5 anyway.
I've never seen a single episode of it, and I know the smoke monster is a thing.
Yeah, it's okay. Lost is okay. I mean, by today's standards of shows, it holds up very well because it does have at least a legitimate ending, and it didn't get cancelled. So, what more can you hope for?
Does it have a legitimate ending?
It kind of does. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I was sated. I was like, yes, that was an ending to this TV show. It wasn't hyped up, but it's better than Game of Thrones at least.
Another thing that I would like to do, and I think is definitely going to happen, is, and we haven't decided which one yet, but definitely a Caribbean island vacation of some stripe is going to happen. Yeah, and actually that was part of a determining factor in something that only Idol knows about, but the guitar that I just bought that I'm still waiting to be delivered, it's in what is called Caribbean blue. That is the name of the finish on the guitar, to where it looks kind of like a beach, like it's like there's blue on one section and then it fades into like a sandy.
You've got to play so much Hawaiian like surf rock on that thing, like.
I mean, I guess I'll learn how to play Tiny Bubbles on it or something, but
Wipeout.
Yeah. Funny thing, I have played Wipeout on yeah, and that was just to give the the drummer in the band. And
I was going to say, that's every drummer's like first, every sort of kid in school. It's like, oh, the drummer wants to play Wipeout. Of course he does.
It was at a high school pep rally, so that makes sense. Yeah. Yeah.
That's it.
No, but I did want to play it all kind of rocked out and distorted, and where it's not like, cavernous, clean guitars, but like actually, mean, aggressive guitars. But actually, it's funny, at that same pep rally, just since we're talking shit, why not? They asked us to play a song for the football team to come out and just like their little walk-up music, basically, like for a wrestler or a baseball player or something. So us being the jerks that we are, what did we do? We played the entirety of Metallica's Creeping Death, which for those that aren't familiar, that's like a 7-minute long song. They wanted something that's like 45 seconds to get the entire football team from the front door out to their little seats so they could have the pep rally.
People just
so we played again. Yeah, and it's like, and we kind of seeded the crowd in advance. So it's like, hey, when it gets to the middle to where we're going like die, like everybody, you got to do that in the crowd too, and they were. So we get to the end of this 7-minute long song, and it's like it. I don't know if pep rallies are a thing outside the United States, but it's just something that's like in school, and it's in the middle of the day. You get out of class to go to the pep rally. It's during football season, so it's something to, I don't know, ostensibly fire up the students for the football game that's happening on Friday night.
We have local.
This is why your tuition is $100,000. Yeah.
No,
so
we go and stand in the rain and just kind of go, yeah, we're here. Where's the beer tent?
Well, see, it's like we show up to that anyway because students can get into the game for free. But so we go and we play this entire, and it's in the it's not in the middle of the day, but it's in like the last third of the afternoon. So your next to last class in high school is cut short so you can go to the pep rally. And we play this song, and there's supposed to be like an order of things that happen in the pep rally. Like the football coach comes out and it's like, it's a great day to be whatever you are for your specific school. Yeah. Eagle, panther, whatever your mascot is. It's like, it's a great day to be that. And then you, have little bits and stuff to cover the 10-15 minutes. So we play the 7-minute song, and finally they're just like, okay, everybody go back to class. They just canceled the rest of the pep rally because they just ran out of time. Because we
12-minute version of American Pie.
So, let me get this straight.
No, we played Alice's Restaurant for like 37 minutes, and it's
so you this pep rally thing, because this is a completely unknown topic to me. Like, you literally have people, the football team, I assume, the football team come out, they cheer them on, and then
the footy team,
the
throw ball
team, and then they go home. And that's it. No one plays a game, or what happens? It's just there to
no. Okay, so this is in the gymnasium of your high school, where there's like in the American gymnasium, there's a basketball court, and there's bleachers on either side.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
So
from films.
on one side there is the student body, and then on the other side there's like the marching band. So they'll play the fight song and little bits and stuff during the pep rally, and then like teachers off to one side or whatever, and then like overflow of students would be on the other side of it. So you just file in, and students didn't care because that just meant that they got to cut class for half of whatever 7th period was, and then you just kind of stick around and let them talk about whatever it is they want to talk about for 15 minutes, and then you go back to class, and then that's just the end of the day.
That's weird. Like, so it's just literally like
it's
a hype event for your team, or is it just a...
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, I think that's the idea of what a pep rally is supposed to be. And maybe since they know they're going to have the entire student body there, they'll have like announcements or something of whatever it is that they might want to talk about as
Tuesday's
school.
lunch menu is canned green beans and fruit cup.
And a bread tangle of pizza. No.
And some pigs in blankets, depending on where you're from.
Yes. So yeah, no, that's a thing. I assume that's still a thing in America. I don't know. It's been Christ, it's been more than 20 years since I've been in high school, so I don't know. But yeah, that was...
You have a disclaimer. That information displayed on this show may not be entirely accurate.
Yeah, and it's well, yeah, and Cranky. I wanted to. Cranky is talking about me doing "Creeping Death" as the song, and it's like I just wanted to do the solo. That's all I want. It's like, well, I mean, I am still a huge Metallic fan. It's like
Your
that's
solos
not.
are epic. I've had first-hand experience of your epic solos, which will be featured on May the 7th, when we debut our Klingon campaign, and you actually did your sick-ass guitar solo for it, which is amazing.
Yeah, well, and I'm.
But you put thought into it. You put the thought into it. I never thought you would do, because you even put the melota bit in there.
Yeah, well, yeah. So I guess we can talk about it for a second. So anybody that listens to this can come back to this. So I only had 2 bits kind of worked out in advance. It's like I just listened to the backing track a few times, and the beginning bit, like the first measure or something like that part I had in my head, and then I had the melota bit, and the rest of it was all just kind of bridging to get there. And I really enjoyed it. It is actually like half of the reason that I bought the new guitar, just because it fired me up to just start playing again, because I've kind of put it off to the side. Yeah,
it's such a good solo, right? Do you know what the telltale sign of it, why it's so good to me, is not because like I was working on the song, it got stuck in my head. I went to bed kind of going da 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 da, like singing your solo, and I was like, yeah, that's so good. I really loved it. Like you literally you're better than 2 take Frakes, you're 1 take big, because it's just like, there it is. And you even said to me, is that good enough? I'm like, oh my god, it's epic. Like, this is, you put a level of thought into this. I was expecting you to just go wow, just whittle some bullshit on it, but you actually put a level of thought into it, and I never thought you would. It was awesome.
Well, it's like, and one of my guitar heroes, such as it is Marty Friedman, who it's like ex Megadeth, and his thought process in constructing a guitar solo is to be like, pretty melodic in the first half of a solo or so, not go ape shit, as he would say. So like be just be like be really melodic and sing songy at the beginning, so you've kind of earned the right to go bananas in the second half of the solo. And that's kind of the path that I tried to take in playing that one, was to just be something that you could kind of hum along with, and then at the very end go bananas. So I'm glad that translated to you.
No, it did really well.
Was it your first take?
What?
Was it your first take?
It was not my first take.
Oh.
It actually took me like 3 hours.
Because I was expecting to kind of like, you send me something, I'll be like, well, can we tweak this and tweak that? And I just listen to it and, yeah, that'll do. That's great.
No, well, okay. I don't want to like dispel the magic of it all. But what I typically like to do with solos is I will play, and I will just kind of improvise for a few takes until I start finding something where it's like the first couple of measures, it's like, okay, that's good. I will keep that. And then I will take it and just kind of go from there. And kind of put it together that way. So that way it kind of has the best of both worlds of improvisation, and then also some structure, to where you would have something that you can kind of jibe with melodically, and then also have just spur of the moment bits. So that's how I like to do it.
That was awesome.
When you do your guitar solos, you can do it how you like. But...
I can't play guitar for shit. I can basically strum and go. I can play a chord, and that's about it.
No, I mean, and that was a great backing track. I mean, that gave me a lot to work with. And the funny thing was, the thing that I loved about it was the fact that it changed. I don't know if it changed key exactly. I don't know if that was your idea. Was it for it to change key?
Well, I had like kind of like
halfway?
I wanted to keep it on that kind of same Ionian sort of range. So it was basically sort of I basically played the da 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 da, but try and like one of the things I've been learning as well with like keyboards is how to reharmonize things and how to sort of play underlying chord. We're getting really into music talk. This is less chill. This is more music chat, but like kind of reharmonizing chords underneath things. So I was trying to reharmonize things over that. And when you go into your solos, like, oh well, maybe I'll shift it up to the C sharp as opposed because the key was in C, and then you've kind of got that sort of like Ionian sort of like lyric. Because I love anything in that scale. In that kind of sort of like going sort of Arabian scales, as it were. I love that kind of sound, and you picked up on that, and that was great. I was like, yes, I'm going to do more music with this man.
Yeah, well, I am 3,000% down because it really ignited something in me that had kind of laid dormant.
We'll collab. We'll touch base. Chat, a question from Cranky. What does Auto play? We almost have a full band here. You play saxophone,
stuff.
Don't you?
Piano and sax. Yeah,
Nice.
but not recently, so.
Do you still have your sax?
I still have my sax, so.
Yeah, you should bust it out. Can you do Christ, what's the...
Don't say Careless Whisper.
Damn,
Don't
I was going to say Careless Whisper.
I could, yeah.
Yes. Because then we could get away with playing it without getting the copyright strike. Which is what you wanted for was it Devioni Ral?
Yeah.
And it's like I can sing too. I just it hasn't come up yet, and I keep threatening to do there's a music thing that I've been trying to do.
You coward.
Yes, you need to do that. I've heard of this. Definitely need to do it. Do any of us play drums? I play the virtual drums. That's about it.
Yeah. No, I can play drums. I actually have
I would love a kit.
I have electric kit in my garage. It's more of a tabletop kit that I've kind of supplemented to make more of a full kit out of. Because back in high school we would do the hackneyed thing where all of us would switch instruments for one song.
That's
just
great.
to
love that as a gimmick. That's great.
Yeah. So I would end up on the drum set because that was back when I was terrified of my singing voice, so I wouldn't want to sing. So that was my only other option, was to go behind the drum kit, and so we would do like Blink 182 songs, and I would be the drummer.
Nice. I used to I do sing. I have sung in bands and things like that, but I once went to a gig as a member of the audience to some friends. It was a college gig, and I stood there and like some friends of mine like, our singer's not turned up, and I'm like, all right, I'm like, can you sing for us? I'm like, well, I don't know any of your songs. They're like, it's fine, it's all originals. I'm like, fuck it, all right then, because it doesn't matter. You know, you're playing a pub in the middle of nowhere, and I was just making all sorts of shit up. It was fine.
Idol clutches his notebook of lyrics that he's just been holding up to his heart
like
for this entire
I
time.
Unleash my inner like, but yeah, I just basically like it's one of those moments where it's just like usually I wouldn't do that, but like you have to kind of leap into it to sort of break your kind of comfort zone, and that was one of the first times I ever broke my comfort zone. I was just like, I don't want to go up and sing, but maybe I'll just do it. I'm not singing covers. If I was singing covers of songs I knew, I'd be like, no, I'm not doing that, because like that you always feel it's a standard. But because it was all originals, I was just like, fuck it, I can sing wherever I want. They offered me money, but I said no. You don't need to pay me for that, whatever that was.
Is this the same Idol that at the beginning of the stream refused to leave the house anymore post-COVID?
Difference.
Both of these things can be true.
I don't refuse to leave the house. I just can't be asked to leave the house now.
Okay.
There's a difference.
But yeah, when that guitar shows up, that's gonna make an appearance at some point on the show somehow.
Also, we need some more shows so I can get some more intros. Actually, there we go. You can make the fake crew intro. We'll do something for that. Oh, sorry, Timeline Talks originals.
Timeline Talks originals.
Timeline Talks originals.
Pretty sure we're just gonna overdub V-neck on that one.
But that's fine.
But what if it was
I can put a bed down.
on a talk box? It's our fight.
It's
Okay.
real.
Well, I don't know about you
All right,
guys,
boys.
but I
We're
think
past 2 hours.
yeah, we should wrap this up. Thank you everyone for joining us. It's been a good blast. You guys have been great, and it's been a nice chat. Apologies for those people that come in expecting us to talk about Star Trek more, but you know what we're like.
We do enough of that.
It's gonna be food, beer, and shredded guitars.
I love that you've made this a drop somehow.
Oh, thank you everyone for joining us. Saturday, first off, Wednesday Timelines Talks. We'll be back to talk about everything Star Trek Timeline, the premium exclusive #1 show for all things Star Trek Timelines. And then on Saturday,
You get the intro right when you're not doing the show.
I know, so yeah, this is it. Always get on the wind up. On Saturday, we will have a Star Trek Adventures, our first in the Klingon campaign, which I'm very excited, which you will hear Big's very own debut guitar solo on that, as well as a campaign which I'm nearly finished writing. I wish I had more time to finish it, but we'll get there. I'll get there before the end, but it'll be fun. Thank you everyone for joining us.
It will take 12 sessions to get through what you've already written, so...
It's going to be
Well, and that's
it's
what-
gonna be one.
That's what the writers of Lost said, right?
Yeah.
We'll get it figured out before the end, right?
Pretty much. No, I've got an overall plan. I actually have an ending plan. Well, kind of. But this is going to feature all original characters, so this is why I'm more excited, because you guys, well, say Big, I know you're not in this, but Auto as well. You're all writing your own characters, so. But yes, we will be back then, and have a look on the Discord and have a look on the events page for things coming up. One thing I'm very excited is Auto and Stars doing their Star Trek Adventures improv session with me, which is going to be
Look, it's STA in name only. It's going to be us showing up already tanked. This is going to be the first time, at least publicly, that Stars will alcohol have touched his lips. So it's going to get a little
be
wild,
fun.
probably.
roll
And
a
then we're
dice
going to
and be
roll
like,
some dice or something. Yeah.
No, we'll do some. We'll do some. So yes, for then. But for now, we will see you next time. For us, for now, we'll see you soon. Ta-ra!